Greetings, scholars! Mathematicians have finally cracked the code on happiness, and here it is. Got it? Cool. Thanks for watching. Like and sub. Haha, just kidding. For a lot of people, math sucks, and a big part of this is that they try to understand the full equation in one mighty go. But instead, let's solve little problems, and eventually we'll understand the full equation. It's like Marky Mark said in The Martian: solve one problem, then another, and keep going until you get home. So what are these big E-looking things? First of all, it's Greek. Second of all, it's a sigma, or a Greek S. And third of all, it's just a summation, which in math world means we're just going to add everything inside of it. We iterate the index I from the initial value until we reach the final value. Perfect transition to the video league question. There's a philosophy defined by maximizing this number. What is it? So now we know we're basically just adding up a bunch of stuff. In the study, the scientist's index was the rounds of the experiment, but in real life, this can be thought of as experiences or events. The scientist partnered up the subjects. At each round, the subjects chose between getting a certain reward or gambling. The scientist would say something like, you can either get $100 or have a 50-50 shot of getting either $200 or $0. And it's also important that each subject would know what their partner did, as well as the result. The scientist measured the subject's brain patterns to detect the levels of dopamine. The level of dopamine in the brain was used to quantify the happiness of the subjects. If you're skeptical that happiness can be measured so quantitatively and easily, I left a link to Simon Sinek's TED Talk in the description. He talks about how our emotions are dominated by 5 basic chemicals. Now that we have a good understanding of the subject, let's go back to the equation and see if it makes more sense. Notice that the equation also has an exponential component, the y in each term, or the forgetting factor. As time went on, the impact of a round on the subject's happiness would become less significant. And since it's exponential and between 0 and 1, it'll look something like this, which makes sense intuitively. So let's try to understand it term by term. The first term has no summation and it's all by itself, so this must represent the baseline happiness. Someone who showed up after a breakup would most likely have a lower happiness than someone who won the lottery. Or maybe not, depending on the relationship, right? The second term applied only if you chose the certain reward, and the happiness would increase as a certain reward increased, obviously. The third and fourth term apply only if you chose the gamble option. The next term shows that your happiness can be a function of your reward compared to the expected value. The fifth and sixth terms show that our happiness depends on those around us. If others get a higher reward, it hurts our happiness, but if we do better than others, it helps our happiness. There's basically 2 main takeaways from this equation. First, although the W and the Y factors were different for each person, they were consistent throughout the rounds for the same person. This means that people inherently weigh risk and rewards differently than one another. It also means that we kind of forget things indiscriminately, which can be frightening. The second major result is the relativity of happiness. Subjects tended to use their partner's results as more of a metric of their success than their actual results. Now, you may think happiness is much more complicated than this, but think about it. Most things we do in life are gambles. I mean, you gamble every time you choose a cereal at the grocery store, or enter a relationship, or choose a career. When I graduated from the Air Force Academy, I had a chance to get a free master's degree. Now, whether you think that's a good decision or not isn't really the point. The point is that I took a calculated risk, or a gamble, if you want to call it that, and I really wanted to put my time and effort into delivering some meaningful YouTube content. Now that you've heard my first world sob story, here's your videoly answer. What philosophy is defined by this equation? Hedonism. Yet another word people think they know what it means, but they really don't understand. Thanks for watching, like, and subscribe.